Hello, Khiana, and thanks for sharing. I will agree with you on this. It was difficult for me as well because of all the reading and the things that we had to do. But as for me, I'm Dean of Students and Athletic Director at a Catholic high school in Southern California. So it was very difficult, but hey, we made it. So that's the good thing. But I just wanted to answer a few of your questions. Or just say comment on a few of the things that you touched on. You're absolutely right. I can see that you're not really into the shoe game and all the different shoes and whatnot because you were kind of like, well, I see LeBron has all these shoes and I know that the NBA is sponsored by Adidas. Well, just let me give you a little background on all this stuff, but you're absolutely right. Adidas did not have any marquee players in the NBA Finals. And yes, Adidas does sponsor several high marquee athletes in the NBA. Just so happened in this NBA Finals, they did not have any. The only Adidas sponsored player in the NBA Finals was Harrison Barnes, and he had a horrible final. So if he would have had a good final, would have been more productive, well, then you probably would have heard his name and you probably would have seen Adidas more. But yes, Adidas does sponsor the NBA. Now, some of the marquee stars that Adidas do sponsor in the NBA, Derrick Rose was by far their biggest star in the last 5 years, but of course he's been hurt. And there's Damian Lillard. You have Andrew Wiggins, who was the first pick in the draft last year. You also have James Harden. James Harden was with Nike and left Nike and went over to Adidas. So those are a few of the stars in the NBA that are sponsored by Adidas. But because their teams are not that good, Houston made the playoffs, but they were a joke. They lost in the first round. Minnesota did not make the playoffs, came close. And Portland made the playoffs, and Damian Lillard did very well, and he's an up-and-coming star. So as you can see, there are a few Adidas-sponsored guys there. Adidas does very well in the college ranks. Among the big power conferences in the college ranks, I would say the SEC would be one of those conferences. And in the SEC, Texas A&M and Mississippi State are the two SEC schools that wear Adidas, that are sponsored by Adidas. UCLA is probably one of the biggest Adidas schools, but they just signed a $280 million contract with Under Armour. So in 2 years, UCLA will go away from Adidas and become an Under Armour campus. Everything will be Under Armour, from football to rowing will be Under Armour. And another school that's very popular is Louisville Cardinals. They are an Adidas school as well. When it comes to the NFL, I'm going to give you a few guys that are sponsored by Adidas. Von Miller, who was the Super Bowl MVP, he's sponsored by Adidas. RG3 was Heisman quarterback that was with Washington. Now he's with Cleveland. Aaron Rodgers, if you know anything about football, he's the Green Bay Packers quarterback. And Jimmy Graham, if you're from Louisiana, you should know who Jimmy Graham is, even though he's not with the Saints anymore. He's with the Seahawks. But those guys are sponsored by Adidas. But it's all based on how these shoe companies work, and with the guerrilla marketing, ambush marketing. It's simple. If they have a high-profile star, they use that star to get their product out to everyone. Believe it or not, LeBron's shoes were not selling as well as Steph Curry's shoes after last year's finals. And Steph Curry was hot. He was the MVP. Under Armour was everywhere. Under Armour, Under Armour, Under Armour. 2 years ago, you could go in a Foot Locker, a Champs finish line, and not find an Under Armour shoe on the shelf. Now, they have all Under Armour shoes. So it's just amazing how one guy can make a big difference. But because of the NBA Finals and the championship that Cleveland did win, and LeBron is one of the biggest ambassadors for um, Nike, it was a shoe in for them. They just ambushed and ambushed and ambushed. I feel sorry for everybody else because the way they ambushed, it was crazy. And the number one pick in the draft, Ben Simmons, in yesterday's draft, NBA draft, he just signed an $80 million deal with Nike as well about 2 weeks ago. So Nike is it when it comes to basketball shoes. But look, it was great. Good luck to you the rest of the way, and hope to be talking to you soon again. Have a good one.